doing there today?
I'm doing good, bro. Jack, how you making it today, man?
I'm making it one day before the election, and I'm bugging you about an interview and all that kind of good stuff.
No, it's never bugging me because Urban Cash been with me from the beginning, so you may as well be there all the way to the end.
All right, I appreciate that. First, I want to go ahead and say, Peter, thank you for joining us today at such a short moment on the Let's Talk show. With Election Day just one day away, we had some big news this morning coming from the United States Supreme Court that's sparking a lot of conversation. The timing of this announcement right before the voters head to the poll has some people wondering if it was an attempt to smooth out the turnout. It was a lot of talk about, turnout was excellent for early voting and all that kind of good stuff. And so the folk out there right now, they are definitely, talking about the idea that this is just another attempt to slow it down, where people will say, hey, don't worry about this district this time and don't go to the poll and that kind of thing. So, again, I want to just say welcome you coming on over here today at such a short notice and different things of that nature. How are you today?
Well, I'm good, and I'm glad you reached out to me because that is preposterous. I'm gonna use one of those words because preposterous. This don't even make sense. And I remember, and if you vividly remember, when Hillary Clinton was running against a certain person, they waited 2 days before the election to start talking about an investigation that wasn't even true. So, you have a whole bunch of propaganda. And I want to tell the folks of District 6 and all across this state, please do not let this deter you from going to the poll. Because I want to know how in the world a judge or the Supreme Court going to render a decision without any new evidence, without any facts, without any new merits of a case. So you're talking about a decision 2 years down the line. So quite naturally, this is not a real decision. I think it's a game being played by the National Republican Party, because I think anything to throw a cobweb in the system right now is to their benefit. So I ask all of the voters of District 6 and across this state to go to the polls. Let's get our district in place. Get your congressman in place, Peter Williams, number 24, and let's fight the decisions that's being made before we even have a chance to live our life for the next 2 years in the newly formed District 6.
Yeah. I guess you almost answered, but how, Peter, I was getting ready to ask you how does this last minute news might discourage people from turning out, but I think you answered that question. But how does this news affect your campaign strategy this last couple of hours before the election itself, man? I mean, this is this thing where you done had it planned out backwards, forwards, sideways, and everything. There's a big kink here, man.
Yeah, but what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make sure that we reach out to all of our base, all of the folks in the 10 parishes that are working with us for voting. Let them keep calling their people. Let them keep lining up everything as though it's status quo. I mean, we're in the last minute of the last quarter of the game. We don't need to fumble. We don't need an interception. We don't need to delay a game. We need to just go full throttle and push the pedal to the metal and vote as though our democracy do depend on it. But let's just go ahead on and go full speed ahead. Let everybody else, don't let anyone stay home. Let everybody else double down and go to the polls, because how we go to the polls and react to this new District 6 gonna have a lot of bearings on the decisions that be made going forward.
All right.
Yeah.
With this being this election, Peter, across the board, it's been one that's been weird. We've been monitoring everything that's been going on, and it's just seemed like, the quote unquote candidates that were picked by their parties, didn't show up most of the time to a lot of the forums and different things of that nature. So I really feel I don't even know all of the candidates. It's 3 of you guys that are running, and I honestly can say I really don't know them. I did interview one once, early in the cycle, but it takes seeing stuff over and over to make sure you hear the right person and hear them saying the right thing. I mean, I don't go to the polls and just vote down a party line. I vote, based upon people who say they can get the job done. And you've been out there, and one other candidate has been out there constantly. Quentin, y'all been out there getting to know the community, getting to understand the concerns and different things of that nature.
Right.
But and now to throw this in, and you got a lot of people out there, man, that's like, just let's get this over with. I don't even want to, and just this one more thing to discourage them. Right. What do you say to that person that just sick and tired of the stuff that's going on?
I say to them, this is one good opportunity to have your own congressman. Normally at the bottom, we couldn't have no reaction to what's happening today because it wouldn't affect us because we wouldn't have a voice or anybody to talk for us. But in this particular instance, when I'm elected congressman for the District 6, you can very well put your trust and belief in that I'm going to argue from the top to the bottom that my constituents voted for this district, they chose me for this district, and I'm going to make it as hard as possible for anyone to want to take this district from us. That came about it early on in the process. They were trying to make us be lethargic or have apathy about voting because, it's going to be going anyway. Well, if y'all think that little of 10 parishes and all of the people, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Black, white, and other, well, we need to show them at the polls tomorrow that we're going to come together, we're going to rally together, and we're going to let the system know that y'all can't just keep playing with our lives like this, and we're going to choose us a congressman, we're going to solidify behind that congressman, and we're going to make sure that we fight to keep our district and as many parishes in the district, even if they decide to draw the line. But the caveat to this, and I think that it won't happen because it's going to affect too many, if they say this district is not good enough, Mr. Jack, that means they have to change all of the districts in Louisiana, not just District 6. So now yourself, 5 other congressmen not going to want those districts to be changed. So all they're doing is giving us some fake Kool-Aid to have a low turnout tomorrow. And at the end of the day, they're going to say, we're going to leave District 6 like it is. So the other 5 congressmen that listening and their voters, if y'all change District 6 in 2 years, you may as well get ready to draw new lines for the whole state because that's what the Supreme Court gonna have to do.
So Peter, what steps would you take, if elected, to ensure that Louisiana's redistricting process is transparent and fair to all voters? It seems like this particular map that came out, it was like it was the world's best kept secret for a long time. And when it did come out, you almost had 2 presumptive people planning on running and, to run this race for the district.
Right,
so
right.
And one of the things, this gerrymandering that's going on is just, political leaders just drawing lines for their political sake. That's not cool. It's got to work for the people of the state and the communities that we're dealing with. So how will you make sure that you are transparent and make sure that we all know how that map is being pulled together and all that kind of good stuff?
And that's a great question, Brother Jack. What I would do is, and I've always talked about it, having satellite offices in each parish. So therefore, I would make sure that each one of the satellite offices would let everyone know. We would have community meetings, because now you're the congressman in this seat. They can't have a meeting on your map without inviting you or without telling you. But this particular map, they had folks from the new administration drawing the map, and even one of the candidates that's in the race drawing the map. So behind closed doors. So this race and this map going forward have to be transparent, because one is going to affect the district that was newly created, a district that's going to be working, because we're going to make it work, and two, my platform is accessibility, accountability, and truth. So being the candidate of this platform, I'm going to make sure that every meeting, urban cast to know about it, all the news components to know about it, and all of the leaders in each parish that I represent, so we can have a full wide transparency and everyone could have input on the new lines and new boundaries if and when they be drawn again.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Well, that definitely sounds like a plan. And Peter, the other thing is that we didn't talk to them younger voters, and tomorrow, we all know, based upon the stats and everything, that they are the largest voting bloc that's out there. We got to face it. A lot of people say that they don't. What would you say to those young folk that you need to get out there to the polls and go vote on tomorrow if they didn't vote in the early election?
I would have them listen to what's happening today. The Supreme Court is already deciding that they're going to redo a district 2 years down the line.
A day before the election.
This is the same Supreme Court that's going to make rules and laws that their children and grandchildren are going to have to abide by. So by them not voting, only letting this particular group of people have full reign to do what they're saying. So go vote, have a mandate, and get behind Peter Williams, number 24, and send a message that you want a new voice, a new leader, and we'll hold the Supreme Court accountable. Because you have to understand, they have a lot of power, but the power belongs to the people. And for so long, politicians have been thinking that the people work for them, but really, we work for the people. So that's what I want to let the young people know. Go out and vote. Let your voices be heard. Select someone that's going to speak up for you and your interests for the generations to come. And let's show the Supreme Court, let's show Washington, D.C., let's show the Baton Rouge politicians, whoever they might be on the left or the right, that in Louisiana, in this particular race, and especially District 6, we're going to have a unified voice with a unified vote, and we will not just let people dictate every move that we make like we some pawns on a chessboard.
I hear you. And Peter, we are in a district. I think I've heard that it's 60% African American, 40% white. That kind of a split. There's some percent of other and all that, what have you. What would you say? Because you come from an agricultural background, and I would say that you probably, if you had to look at your needs personally, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Are significant. Your needs are very similar to the needs of other people who are working in the agricultural kind of environment. What would you say to those folk that are in that environment that are just planning to go vote on tomorrow and vote, down the R, which is where a lot of people.
Man, it would be a disservice, Mr. Jack, to all of the rural farm families to go vote down the political line and vote for R. You talking about electing a gentleman from the Republican Party who don't know the difference between clay and sand, who have no idea. I have never heard him say anything in the 90 days we have been running about agriculture, about the farm bill, about the safety net for food, WIC, family nutrition, elderly program. I have never heard him say anything about the farm bill, the high prices of fuel and insurance that are affecting our agriculture people and our farmers and our small businesses. So I want all the voters, especially the Republican voters, who are going to say, well, I'd never vote for a Democrat. But what you have to understand, you have to have someone in Congress that knows what the Republican parties and families in District 6 need. And the only one know those needs is Peter Williams, based on my background in agriculture and forestry. So it's not about a D, it's not about an R. It's about choosing the best candidate that can represent all of the families from the agriculture sector, the urban sector, and even the rural and veterans and disabled families of our district. So I'm the best candidate, because agriculture see no DNR. They see sunlight, they see too much rain, they see too much water. And you have to understand, all of the urban communities around District 6 are supported by the agriculture and forestry community. So if we lose 2 years of a voice in Washington, D.C., right now we have no one sitting on the Ag Committee in Washington because no one knows agriculture. We have no one sitting on the Coastal Restoration Committees because Gary Graves is no longer going to be in Washington, D.C. So that means the most vulnerable areas of Louisiana, our coastal wetlands that's going to be eroding at a football field a day, you don't have anyone in Washington, D.C. to sit on these committees to watch at least the appropriations or at least for funding that could save some of those valuable assets that I'm talking about. And I'm the only one with those credentials.
Hey, Peter, we lost your sound over there. You might have touched your phone. You might have accidentally hit mute or something. Okay, there you go. I think we got you now.
Okay.
Yeah, you might want to say that last statement you were making there.
Yeah, the last statement I said is that some of the most valuable assets with agriculture, forestry, our fisheries, and our wetlands going to be unprotected and unattended for the next 2 years if you don't have the right congressional candidate in office. And I'm the only one with those credentials. I'm the most balanced candidate because I understand the components of the rural components for agriculture and forestry, urban development, community development, and also our coastal wetlands. We have to be very careful that we have someone on those committees because guess what? The oil and gas revenues that we were allotted for Louisiana, the coastal restoration funding that we were supposed to get after Hurricane Katrina, a lot of those things could be subject to being lost if you don't have anyone with the ears to hear and the eyes to see what's going on in Washington, D.C. And I am the one that's qualified and prepared to do that.
All right. Peter, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you might want to remind the voters of as we draw near tomorrow?
Yes, I want to let the voters know that this district is alive and well for at least 2 years. Don't let what we're hearing today about it may be overturned or it's going to be changed, because a judge or a Supreme Court just can't overturn anything without evidence. You can't make a decision or a ruling because of politics or money. You have to have a way to do it. So there's no evidence that the 6th district won't work. There's no evidence that enough people is saying that we wanted to get redrawn. So go vote. Let's win this seat. Get me in office, Peter Williams, number 24, and let's make it hard for them to change the district, because we're going to make it work as one 10 parish unified program.
Okay. Hey, Peter, I definitely want to say thank you, and thank you for your thoughts on this important issue today. And the timing of the Supreme Court announcement has certainly raised questions. I mean, our phones and messages start coming in. What do you think about this? So I said, I got somebody I'm going to give a call to.
Well, you know what? And you see where my signs is in this dirt pile?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I'm sitting down under the farm, under a barn with a bunch of dirt. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to the polls and we're going to win that election, and we're going to bury all of those rumors that the District 6 is going to be removed after 2 years. How about that?
That sounds, and you got the soil and dirt there ready to go.
However big a hole they have, we can fill it up.
Y'all can fill it up.
Yes, sir. And I sure appreciate Urban Cast. I thank y'all so much, and I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, maybe later on the night, and especially Wednesday, when we either in the runoff or we be the won this race outright.
All right, well, listen, Peter, I'm gonna let that be my closing today. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you and Urban Cast. Thank y'all very much.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
All right, bye-bye. All right.